What's up, guys? I put a note in my notes app the other day that said suffering is a sin, and I wonder how many people just from that, without going into the detail of what would lead someone to say that or think that or what this idea means, I wonder how many people would actually understand what is meant by that. Because without convoluting the message, right? Jesus said in the Bible to love thy neighbor as yourself. Treat people like you want to be treated. The golden rule, basically, right? And how do we want to be treated? How do we want to treat ourselves? We want to treat ourselves with the respect, admiration, love, and confidence that makes life worth living. And who is that person other than the kind of person that goes towards their goals, knows what their goals are, and goes towards them? And I say here, I'll just get into it because I think I'm just confusing it even more. Suffering is a sin because when you suffer, you're not aligned. And that's not to be confused with pain. Pain is a part of life. Pain is something we all experience. Some of us more than others, absolutely. But you don't have to suffer through pain. You don't have to see what I'm saying? You don't have to wallow in the pain. You can feel it, you can see that it's there and push past it or go regardless. But if you suffer, if you're someone that's suffering, you're choosing the suffering. And when you choose suffering, which is not something you actually want to do, in reality, no one likes to suffer. We may be okay with pain, but no one likes suffering. Suffering is, by definition, without looking it up, I believe that's a state of angst and anxiety and just terror. It's literally something you don't want to do, something that's not enjoyable. And when you're doing something that's not, when you're experiencing pain as suffering, which by the way, you can experience joy as suffering. Some people experience joy as suffering. Like they see it as something they shouldn't be feeling. Therefore, they give themselves the feeling of guilt and shame, which is a form of suffering. And that's not what we're put here to do. That is not your highest calling, is to suffer. Pain, again, may be part of your journey, but suffering is never not a choice. Suffering is a choice. And because suffering is not actually something that you want to do, going back to the last video, your self-concept dictates how you experience life and what you go after. If you're someone that believes that they have to suffer and that suffering makes you a good person, then your self-concept is the one to blame for that. And you can change that. If you believe that suffering makes you a good person, I've got news to tell you that that is not the case. You will find out time and time again that no one will care that you're suffering. No one cares that you feel more bad than the next person. No one cares that you're going through it more than the next person because everyone understands that their life is the most important thing to themselves. No one watching this cares about me more than they care about themselves, right? I care about myself more than I care about who's watching. Absolutely. Because here's the thing, if I didn't care about myself more than the audience, then I wouldn't be truthful. I wouldn't be telling you something that I actually think. And that's the closest you'll ever get to who I am, is getting an opinion that's actually my own. Getting something that comes from my heart. Getting something out of me that I actually feel. The best thing I can do to communicate to you who I am, and which is what people talk about when they say, sorry, I had something in my eye. When people talk about being honest, is that you're doing yourself a service. It's never about the other person. That's one thing that is kind of a miss in today's culture, is we have this kind of over obsession with thinking about other people and thinking that that makes you a good person. That putting other people before you makes you a good person. My friend, that is not the case. Put yourself first every single time and you'll never do other people any wrong. Okay? Because when you do something that's actually good for you, by the way, when you do something that you feel is congruently actually good for you in every sense of the word, it will be good for the entire world. You can never do something that's good for you that's going to hurt someone else. I swear to God, you cannot do it. Anytime you do something that's good for you, that you think is good for you, but it hurts someone else, it wasn't actually good for you, because the reality is that that person is just an extension of you. Nobody is actually disconnected from you, right? The reality is that we're all one. Everyone has heard that a million times. When it's actually good for you, when you do something that's loving towards yourself, which can be an act of kindness, when you do it for yourself, it comes off not like you're trying to get something from the other person. And when you take yourself out of the equation, by the way, which I hear people preach on this, like, oh, when you take yourself out of the equation, you think about how would the other person feel, blah, 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 blah. That's how you really did. No, absolutely not. Because now you're trying to jick the system. The natural way of things is you are your own person. There's no one that inhabits your body but you, right? You are in charge of yourself. Everything you feel is your responsibility. Everything you do is your responsibility. The way you feel about yourself, who you believe that you are, and how you treat other people is still from the angle of coming from you. It should never be about the other person. It should never be, oh, like, I want to make this person feel good. I'll level with you. Sick person comes to the hospital. Let's say you're the doctor, right? You see that this person's sad because they have a terminal illness and they're about to die. How do you treat them? Well, most people would say, well, with respect and kindness and consideration. Absolutely. Okay. Fair. What if they don't know that they're going to die, but you know they're going to die, and you have to tell them? Some people with self-proclaimed common sense and empathy would say, well, you want them to feel good, right? But if I told them, well, you need to tell this person the bad news. This bad news is going to feel bad for them at first. You're going to absolutely crush their dreams. They're going to feel absolutely terrible. They might even hate you for telling them this, that they're going to die. I would hate to hear that. What do you mean I'm going to die? You don't tell me I'm going to die. Like, right? Sensitive subject for sure. But you have to tell them regardless, because that's the position you're in. You have to tell them. If you don't tell them, what happens? They probably have less time to die. When you tell someone the reality of what's actually happening, you give them a platform, you give them a place to actually move from with power. They can actually take action on the reality that's actually in front of them, not feeling good or wishing that things were better. There's no wishful thinking in love. And so, with this person right here, with the doctor, he's thinking for himself. If he understands that he's thinking for himself when he tells this patient that they have a terminal illness now, that they've contracted terminal illness and that they have 6 months to live. It's loving towards himself. This doctor is being loving towards himself, okay? And the reason for that is that it's like the same with that golden rule, but there's a reason that it's worded that way, as like, treat others how you would want to be treated, not treat others how they would want to be treated. I hear some people say that this is how it really should say, is treat others how they would like to be treated. But some people, the truth is, only you know what you need, right? Only you know what would make a difference in your own life. And it's only from that perception that you can act in a way that's selfless, that seems selfless. That's the only way, because if you start assuming that you know what people want, which, by the way, not everybody wants the same thing. I kind of made the point in the last video that everybody wants certain things like love and money and like self-sustainment and purpose and all these different things, right? But in the moment, like there's a level that you can't tread on. Like, people still decide for themselves what they want. Why? Because those things are so deeply ingrained within the self-concept, which is even more deeply ingrained, that to overstep and assume what this person needs in that moment, you might be right. And it's actually not what's best for them. And the only way that you could that you could live in a way that's best for other people is to live in a way that's best for you. Because that is the vibration. It's the vibration of abundance and everything you want is from that place. You can't subjugate it. You can't have it be like an external magic wand or something that allows you to like act to know what this person needs. You might know what they need in concept and theory, but the only way you're actually able to do any good for that person is to live from a state of thinking the absolute best and the absolute most about who you are in such a way that tells you that that you can help this person. That's the only way to do it. In reality, if you really were to like be honest about the way that things work, And I'm just trying to simplify, okay? This is to simplify my life. And if this simplifies your life, even better. But I couldn't tell you what would be simple for you without knowing what's simple for me, because I only know myself. And so what's simple for me is simplifying my life in a way that I can look at the world and always be selfish. I can look at the world and always think, what's in it for me? What would be the best case scenario for me? Genuinely. And when I think that way, it actually allows me to think long term. You would think it would just be short term. But when you actually think for yourself, not just think your own thoughts, but think in a way that's good for you, you're able to be factual about your life. You're not just going to live in the next 1 or 2 hours. You're not just going to be alive for the next 5 years. You're going to be alive for a long time, especially if you're doing things the right way, in a way that's good for your health, and you're growing up to be stronger every day, and you're taking care of yourself. You're going to live a long time, okay? And so you need to think, you're going to think that way automatically if you're thinking for yourself. And when you know you're going to be around for a long time, you're not going to do things that are going to be bad for you. You're not going to do things in a way that's going to allow people or get people to come back around in 10 years and sue you for having taken down their business or done malicious things to them. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going to end it there because this video has gone on a little bit too long, and I kind of went on too long for it in some points. I think I need to expand my vocabulary. I'm looking forward to that, because then I'll be able to express what it is I'm trying to tell you guys in a much more succinct manner, and you'll get it quicker. But either way, if you made it this far, I would appreciate if you gave the video a like. And if you like my other videos as well, you want to make sure to watch the next ones that I come out with, just hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys in the next one, and see you guys next time. Bye.